things are bad, you can't jump in and say, well, it's because X, Y, and Z. We had to wait. And we waited, and thanks to, again, it's like if there were no teams and no stories and no players, we also couldn't do anything. So perfect storm. I hope it stays.
Hello everyone, this is Darius from the Shotcaller, joined here by Evje de Potere once again. How are you feeling on this very last day at the ULCS studio?
Darius, I guess you're also feeling a bit emotional, and so do we. It is the last day. We all know that things are going to change a bit in Europe with the permanent partnerships next year. So it's like a happy feeling because everything wraps up and we can be happy at what we've achieved, I think, this year. We're looking forward to Worlds, but it's always a bit emotional. Yeah.
And of course, you will be joining us in South Korea.
Yeah.
So that will be exciting.
Yes.
Worlds in South Korea, the homeland must be amazing. Do you know a few things about, you don't need to tell anything, but are you excited about the show?
Yes, of course, you can get nothing out of me. But, 2014 Korea finals, so we ended up going to a couple of different countries, but we did I believe the semifinals and the finals and maybe also the quarterfinals in Korea. So that was awesome because, as you say, it's kind of the homeland of the most world championship and some of the best League legends in the world. It's almost fitting that this is again a year where China is looking so strong and they might give Korea a run for their money. And we've got some insane things prepared. People always go, 2014 was the best ever. You had Imagine Dragons, you had anything. And I think it's like so hard to live up to that because for the people who worked on that show, it's like, well, are we supposed to not put on the best show ever? And now people are always going to remember that one. I feel like this one could give it a run for its money.
Wow. That must be very exciting, especially given that last year was already super amazing and, the Digital Dragon and everything. So huge stuff. So very excited for Korea, of course. Now, reflecting on the past EULCS season, of course, there were a lot of changes, new people coming in, Ender coming in, Loch coming in at the start of the year, new teams coming in. And overall, I felt like production and the general consensus is that the game has stepped up massively and the viewership has reflected it as well. So are you happy with what you achieved over this past season?
Yeah, incredibly. I know you guys saw the numbers of how the viewership went up, and there has been a time in past years when we thought we're never going to get back to how good it was for Europe then specifically, when we had OG and Fnatic or, when we had, Froggen and everything, when everything was kind of like the crazy times, I think, of League of Legends. And I think this was really, in the last years, we had to work at it. It came very easy in the beginning because everyone was watching League of Legends. Everyone was playing League of Legends. And this time, we really needed to reevaluate what we were doing. As you said, also a lot came together behind the scenes. We had our control room. For the first year, we did everything from here. Before, we always needed help from outside. We had more people. But I think most of all, everyone was just super invested. And we wanted to do the viewers justice and also the players, they gave us some great stories, the Italian selling. Yes, I know we said it too much, but when the teams and the players give you such amazing stuff, you have to run with it. And I'm glad we did.
So just from a personal perspective, of course, those comparisons between NA and EU are tiresome and stuff like that. But I have the feeling that EU, within this last year particularly, has evolved and developed a very strong own character in the way that you guys play a lot more with memes and jokes and that kind of stuff. Quickshot now being the conductor of the Schalke hype train now that Deficio has left it and stuff. Has that become more of a focus? Yeah,
I don't think that specifically has become a focus. I think there's a long history of... And when it comes to viewership and Reddit and social media, they are fickle. We all know this, right? And it's normal because it's millions of people, right? So we actually had a period of time, I think it was 2 years ago, that we would get a lot of shit for having too many memes and not being serious because there wasn't enough serious coverage. And I think this year we struck the balance between the serious storytelling and analysis. So there was room again to do the other things as well. And one thing our producer told us in the beginning of the year was, listen, we're gonna do Ready Check in a bit. If we're gonna do something silly, lean into it. Go for it all the way. And if it falls flat, let it then fail miserably, but never go into it half-assed. Just do it. And famous, just do it. But that's exactly what we did. And I just feel so happy that it all came together. It's so hard to explain the years of reading how shit we were and we couldn't explain it because there was a lot going on behind the scenes, but you can't, if things are bad, you can't jump in and say, well, it's because X, Y, and Z. We had to wait. And we waited and thanks to, again, it's like if there were no teams and no stories and no players, we also couldn't do anything. So perfect storm. I hope it stays.
Let's hope that as well. Of course, a few new teams will come in next year.
We'll see, yeah.
Hopefully lots of new storylines there to be had. Personally, from my perspective, my favorite addition essentially to the EULCS broadcast was the addition of Medis and Vedis, because I think it's a perfect meme. Yes. I love it. What's your favorite?
Oh, what's my favorite? Let's see. I think in general, nobody complained or noticed that we killed post-game analysis for most of the split. So our producer came in at the beginning of the split. We do like these brainstorming sessions for days and days, and just like, it's really hard work, but it's great. And he was like, listen, we're not going to do post-games anymore because people are excited and watching, and when you do an exciting pre-show with assets that you have all built out, we're going to test it and see if it works. And I was like, that's a change. But I think that is one of the examples of how we decided to make our own show, focusing on what we could do good and how we could differentiate ourselves from other broadcasts. We, of course, still have post games in best of fives, in games when we really wanted. But the fact that we made these changes and we just put our heart into it, I think is like my favorite thing about the year.
Very interesting. Yeah, I didn't even think about it that. So, anything you want to say?
Turns out nobody cares about post-game. No, just kidding. Of course.
Nobody cares about analysis. We're all just here for the memes, really. Anything you want to say to the EULCS fans that have been, of course, particularly excited about this past year?
Yeah, we love you, man and women. And it's crazy. I think it's so cool that Europe, and we just saw it in Madrid, we have such a distinct, it's not just like one style of people. There are so many fans and so many different people and so many different cultures, which is always like at the heart of Europe. And I love that the last 2 years we've leaned into, we'll speak Spanish in Spain, we'll let the Spanish casters do it, we'll look for our unique flavors in every city. And we've been welcomed so warmly everywhere. So we do it all for you guys. We love you. I actually also want to say congratulations to you, because you've brought something that we've needed for a long time, right? Consistent interviewing at the EULCS and good content, and you're getting in there. And sometimes we butt heads, but I think that's good. So yeah, keep going.
Thank you very much. That praise means a lot to me, and I always love butting heads with you, if I'm being completely honest, because you always have an answer, and that's the most thing I can appreciate about someone. Thank you very much for your time. Of course, you all know Sjokz, and she's on Twitter and everywhere, of course, Instagram as well. And this was also Darius from the Shotcaller, and I hope you had a good day. Definitely see you guys next time. Bye-bye. Hey everyone, this is Darius from the Shotcaller, and I hope you just enjoyed that video. This is a generic end card, of course, so make sure to click here for a different interview, or here for a different interview, or about here to subscribe to the Shotcaller. We very much appreciate your support, and see you guys next time. Bye bye.